back to our show, Back to Basics, a hardwiring in Christ through conversations. Each week we will discuss different topics focusing on marriage, family, communications, and etc. through the lens of Christ. So you got Faustman over here this week, and we have a new guest host, Bobby Danger.
How's everybody doing? This is Bobby Danger.
Yep, he is in the house, and he will be here if I'm talking or not. So, all right. So we spoke about last week on Acts of Service. Does anybody remember Acts of Service all? Bobby, did you get to listen on Acts of Service?
I did get to listen to Acts of Service, and was there's a lot of gems in last week's show.
That's awesome. I'm going to bring some back up. So, which showed us many ways to love our spouse, like cleaning the dishes and vacuuming, etc. We also spoke how to communicate our desires without criticism, which is very, very hard. And if we get criticized, how to interpret the root of the message. So, you guys are spun up from last week, and now we're going to dive into my favorite love language, quality time. What's your love language, Bobby?
I would say that my love language is physical touch. Definitely quality time comes a close second.
Well, that's a good. For me, quality time is number one, and acts of service is number two. So, if you want to engage with us in the conversation, you can call us live at 253-584-1480, or you have the great new technology option of texting us on Facebook at Back to Basics. That's BACK, the number 2, Basics, and our logo is a compass attached for your identity, to identify the page. And if you don't get your questions answered today, we'll answer them within 24 hours. We're hoping we surge in Christ, so if we don't get you in 24 hours, that means we got overbogged on the Facebook page, which would be awesome. So, and also, we're having a contest.
Yes, the contest. Great contest.
Yes. All right, so we have 14 likes right now, and I'm not liking to pay $100 to Facebook, so I want to pay $100 to you. So, if you can go over, it's called our Spare Change Contest. So each new like gets entered into our drawing, which contributes $1 into the contest. Our goal is 100 likes. And on our next show, we will choose a winner, and you will receive between $1 to $10 a week for the next 10 weeks. You obviously got to have a Facebook account. You got to like us and make sure you have Facebook Pay hooked up. So the more likes we get, the more money you can possibly win. So bring on the likes. All right. So, all right, let's dive in and invest our time into our next love language of quality time. So, Bobby.
Yeah.
What is quality time exactly?
Quality time, I'm going to say this in my own words. Quality time is spending meaningful time with the one you love.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that the definition of the quality time be centered around their definition of quality time. My definition isn't going to be the same as my wife's and vice versa, and that takes some level of communication for me to understand what her expectation of quality time is.
Yes, definitely. Well, let's go over some of the definitions as we go from the 5 Love Languages book. So one of the definitions that they use is quality time is giving undivided attention to the person that is looking for it. So typically, not all, but some, like Netflix binging on the couch is not quality time. We'll get into the type of quality time dialect on Netflix binging in a moment, but the show is getting... The point is to get time with your spouse, not the show. If the show is getting all the time and the spouse is not getting the time, that's typically not quality time. So we know that our time is limited, but giving that as a gift to your spouse that they crave or desire. It's like giving gold. I mean, especially for me, it's like time you can't get back. Hey, Bobby, do you know how many minutes are in a day?
No, I do not know how many minutes are in a day.
All right. Well, they also, instead of Faustman, they call me Rain Man, so I can do numbers on the fly. It is 1,440 minutes.
Wow.
And it's 86,500 seconds in a day. And imagine if we had $865 a day and we only could spend it in that day. You know, that's the type of thing that we need to go do, is that time can't be back. Just like we can always get back money, we can always get back gifts, we can get back all the things, but time we can't get back. So I'm thinking of a story here to represent that. Is about Cain and Abel. And this is out of Genesis 4, 1 through 8, and Bobby's going to go read that for us.
Yeah, so we're in Genesis 4, 1 through 8, and I'm reading out of the LEB. You can send us a message on Facebook to figure out what translation that is. But here we are, chapter 4, verse 1 of Genesis. Now Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain. And she said, I have given birth to a man with the help of Yahweh. Then she bore his brother Abel. And Abel became a keeper of sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the ground. And in the course of time, Cain brought an offering from the fruit of the ground to Yahweh, and Abel also brought an offering from the choicest firstlings of his flock. And Yahweh looked with favor to Abel to his offering, and to his offering, But to Cain and to his offering he did not look with favor. And Cain became very angry, and his face fell. And Yahweh said to Cain, why are you angry, and why is your face fallen? If you do well, will I not accept you? But if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door, and its desire is for you, but you must rule over it.
And let's go expound on that. So we can take this from many different translations, at least is what I see. You can join the conversation with us at 253-584-1480. Again, that's 253-584-1480, or you can hit us on Back to Basics on Facebook. If you're having problems looking for that, you can just go the www.facebook.com and type in back, the number 2, basics, KLA 1180 AM, and you'll find that exact link. So what we see is God asks us to serve him in a particular way. You know, when Cain was asked, hey, you need to serve this way, and Abel automatically did it. And we want to show love and devotion to God, and we want to do it the way he's asking for it. Well, we should do the same thing with our others in that particular range. So when we're loving our spouses, we should be loving them in their love language and not just going over and just compromising because it's easy and it's simpler. So in the end, loving our way and not his way or the way our spouse is pretty much death that happens in one form or another.
I mean, exactly. I mean, that's where the listening really does come in, right? Like being able to have a conversation and hear from them their expectation of what that act looks like, right?
Yes, definitely, because you just don't want to you don't want to go try before you buy it type thing. You want to go over and learn. You want to learn and live instead of live and learn. And we tend not to do that as a society. We tend to go do things first and then we live and then we learn. We should be learning instead of living, and that's what we're doing today. So I have a question for the audience, and if you want to come engaged, you just got our number. We'll give it again. It's 253-584-1480. What do you think on how should we show love? Are you being selfish and sinful? Am I being selfish and sinful? Or maybe we're being arrogant. Or maybe you're just serving well in this love language and you just want to go shout it out and say, hey, I'm doing awesome, under God's graces, and go over and show us that.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think if you've really got this love language down, definitely give us a call at 253-584-1480. I think people being able to hear someone who's actually walking this out very well is great, and we'll give you a yay God for you being awesome in that realm.
And that's cool. So let's go over and talk about a different example. So you're at the restaurant, you see couples throughout the place. Can you tell the difference between the dating and married couples? Bobby, can you tell?
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm eating at that time. I'm eating my food, but I would say that there's definitely a difference in how those two look. The dating couples definitely really got the whole Lady and the Tramp thing going on. They're looking to each other's eyes. They're really trying to get to know each other very well. And unfortunately, for some married couples, depending on the length of time that they've been married, there's not much conversation going.
Yeah, the dating couples are usually focused into each other, and the married couples are usually focused into eating. You can tell it's like, hey, they have a couple years, and if they get like 20 plus, you're like, whoa, they're way focused in their food. So, but we need to be focused into each other.
Now, my wife, and I hope she's listening because she's amazing, but we tend to, we're foodies, so we'll be diving into our food, and we'll talk after we eat because we like to eat hot food. But definitely, you can definitely tell the difference based on how things are going at that table setting.
Yeah, of course. An average American meal is 45 minutes. Hopefully, you're not like 44 minutes eating and then 1 minute talking. Yeah. But that tends to happen. So we'll go from there. So we want to give people undivided attention when we are with our spouses if they're quality time. And you want to give them the moments of your life to them. And it's so precious to watch, especially when you're in a restaurant and people are like, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, still married. They're still holding hands. They're still looking each other in the eyes and things of that nature. Some people naturally know the love languages and they do it naturally, and other people don't. It's even more exciting when you're like, hey, I'm not physical touch, but I'm going to go share that with you. Or I'm not quality time. I'm going to be that sacrificial. I had a gentleman did that one time. His name is Bill, and he went over and he said, I'm going to go to your laser party. He's like, I hate laser parties.
What's a laser party?
It's one of those laser tag parties. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like a laser.
I don't know what that is, but no.
Yeah, we don't shoot lasers in people's eyes.
Okay.
So he was coming to laser tag with me. He says, like, Danny, he's like, I hate laser tag with a passion, but because I love you, I'm willing to invest in it. And that's what quality time is.
Sure.
Is making that. Yeah. So we need to go put down the smartphone not today unless you're texting in the conversation, the remote, turn off the TV, and face your spouse. Actually look them in the eyes. You might find out they have a different eye color. Mine change every day. And engage in what they're wanting. But what do they want? And that's our next section of conversation, which is driving towards. And here's some examples from Bobby. He's going to mention on quality time real quick.
So definitely quality time, spend a weekend away. And there's a lot of different websites that are out there to help you do that with or without kids. And again, it goes back to your spouse. Is quality time to them a definition that includes your kids? If so, definitely make them a part of that. Meet them for lunch. My wife does this a lot. She's real cool about surprising me, coming way up to where I work, which is not in this area. She'll drive miles just to hang out with me during lunch. Talk each day and listen for a few minutes, or listen a lot depending on what's going on in your spouse's life, and really, press in to what they're saying and what they're not saying, so that you can be there, or you can pray for them, or you can meet that need in your own special way. Spend time listening to kids, not just giving tasks, as I often do. Just say, "Hey, how was school? You didn't get in trouble? Awesome. Go do chores." And definitely play games with your kids. These are just one of the things that we do every other Sunday. We have our parents come over. We all have a meal, and then we play games until the night is old. And it's awesome. And we make the young people in charge of what games we play. Things like that is really great. Picnics, vacation, going on walks. And I love this note here, Faustman. Ignore technology if at all possible.
Yeah, you got to understand we have a lot of military people in the midst. I had some experience in that myself. So if you can try to ignore technology if all possible. And spending the weekend away, we just did that today. We just went to Cannon Beach, really awesome place.
Awesome.
Go out there and have some time and spend some time away. Sometimes you have to be a little impulsive, but you got to go and plan that fiscally, so don't go broke while you're doing that. Yeah.
Be good stewards of your time and your resources.
So you're saying to yourself, "Hey, Faustman, Bobby Danger, I'm doing all these things." My question to you is what about focused attention? And we're going to talk about focused attention. Focused attention is just putting yourself in the mix and making it about you and not about the other. So now it's not about staring at each other and putting putting laser focus into them and into the event that they're doing. They're emotionally investing. So Bobby, what do you give to your wife? How do you give your wife focused attention, or how does she give you focused attention?
I think for both of us, it's really about stopping what we're doing, like just kind of. Or, and if I can't do a task, let's say I'm cooking a meal because I'm the cook in my home. So if I'm cooking a meal and I got something that might spoil or burn or something, just saying, "Hey, give me 5 minutes and then I'll give you my undivided attention." But we're really good about sensing those things out and just picking a time and place where we can ask for that focused attention. I think it's really important to communicate. I mean, I think a lot of this comes down to communicating.
Yeah, and you have to ask that person, what is focused attention? Because they're like, "Hey, I might want you holding hands and staring in my eyes and on this particular conversation," or, "Hey, when I come in the door, give me a hug," and then go over and say, "Hey, ask me how my day is," and what's the type of focused attention. Obviously, you're not going to get focused attention when you have 4 kids in my house running around everywhere, chicken head cut off. And for me, I still sometimes forget quality time. I'm like, I want quality time. I've been with no people all day at work, and now I have you, and I need to dump. And sometimes you need to think, it's like, hey, what has she walked in? What has she walked in her day? So your definition of focused attention might be different than hers, and then especially in a time frame on what your energy is like. Like, I'm a night person and my wife's a day person, so we have to meet in between and hopefully find like that lunchtime in between when the kids are in school and whatnot, or on the weekends. So do you guys have any questions? Do you want to join in the conversation? Bring your thoughts to the table or to the phone, 253-584-1480, or again, you can text us at the number 2 basics on Facebook. And so you can give us a call. So last week, we talked about dialects in our love language. Quality time has some dialects also. And the one we're going to talk about is quality conversations is one of them. So what is quality conversations? Let's see what Bobby thinks before we get into the definition.
Yeah, I think, making sure that, body language, I think, speaks a lot more than words sometimes, especially depending on the level of the conversation. So, make sure you maintain great eye contact, listen with your body. That's one of the weird things I've always wanted to say over the microphone to radio listeners is listen with your body. But no, just listen, like be actively engaged.